All right, thanks for tuning in to Leading Forecast here, and let's get on over to it here. We are obviously going to talk about Hurricane Sandy here. We did downgrade it to a tropical storm, but has since been re-upgraded to a hurricane. Taking a look at current radar, and you can see here's the western banding of Sandy starting to affect places from Georgia up to, or from South Carolina, North Carolina up towards the Virginias. Here's a cold front hanging out here. That's been kind of sitting across the region for the past several days, slowly moving east, but it's getting kind of blocked out between Hurricane Sandy and then the high that's sitting up here. And then some snow going on across the northern portions of the United States. And it's going to be interesting to see how this cold air that's coming in here ends up interacting with Sandy, because there's still a risk, I think. Yesterday I wasn't thinking so much, but the models have really underplayed the cold air, I feel like. So this could get interesting. Let's go on over to Hurricane Sandy. Right now, a Category 1 storm. Winds are at 75 miles per hour, gusting to 90 miles per hour, and now we are starting to see the millibar pressure fall to 961 millibars. Last night we were at 971, so the storm is getting stronger. As of 3 p.m., here's your cone. Sandy at a Category 1. Taking a northeasterly track and then turning back northwest once it gets caught up in the 500 millibar trough, and it phases in with that, and then it makes landfall somewhere right in here, and we'll give you a little closer look at that here in just a second. Tropical storm warnings in effect basically from North Carolina all the way down the coast to the Georgia-South Carolina state lines there. So Cape Hatteras included in that, probably down the Savannah, Charleston, places like that. Here's the wind radius on Sandy, and this has a very impressive wind radius. The red here are hurricane force winds, and then of course your oranges are the tropical storm force winds. Tropical storm force winds are spreading out from the main area of Hurricane Sandy by 410 miles. That is a huge wind area for a tropical system like this. Usually they're relatively confined, but not with Sandy, because she is transitioning from tropical to now an extra tropical storm. Let's go on over to I just want to discuss the forecast models, where they're making landfall here and what exactly is going on. The first one I'm going to show you, this is the NAM model. This is as we get into about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. Here's Sandy sitting right here, starting to make landfall right up towards New York, Philadelphia, places like that. We have a huge wind field expanding out with Sandy, and look at all the heavy rain on the west side of Sandy here, going across Pennsylvania, Ohio, down towards the Virginias. Places like that getting some very heavy rain, and you can bet some along the coast some incredible tides and some storm surge going on. This is the GFS model. Again, we're getting a pretty good consensus on where this is going to happen. There's Sandy sitting right there, your center of low pressure. You can see all these gradients. We're talking about a 952 millibar low at this point, which is a very strong low pressure system, and all the rain going on here with Sandy. And some of this cold air is trying to work its way into the back here. We'll just have to wait and see how this ends up playing out. Looking at the European model, here's Sandy making landfall. We have about it looks like a 952 millibar low, according to the European model here, as it makes landfall. And then this is the RPM model. This is a what we consider a mesoscale model. It's a little more detailed. And so let's go on over, and this is by the time we get into 21Z on Monday, I believe that is. Yes, and making landfall here is, I believe I read that as a 948 millibar low. Look what's happening down here. Rain is transitioning over to snow across the Virginias, even some of the southern Pennsylvania area. We're starting to see that snow transition because there's cold air still sticking around and getting wrapped into this storm on the east side. Going on over, here's a couple of the models you can see. Here's New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Delaware's here. Going on over, there's your NAM model, the GFS model, the RPM model, and the Euro model. So we're all really getting a good consensus that somewhere along the Jersey Shore here, we're probably going to see that's where it's going to make landfall. Now, don't be surprised if it does track a little bit farther south or farther north. There's a lot of players still in this game that we're not sure how they're going to affect the storm and exactly where it'll make landfall. Let's take a look at a major factor here. It's going to be how much precipitation we're going to get with this storm. This is the NAM, and you can see a lot of precip. In fact, the purples here, that's 8, and then these deeper colors are 10 or more. And you can see anywhere from, I mean, a little bit of rain, such as, really, I shouldn't say a little bit of rain, about an inch or more falling throughout a large area here in places like Pennsylvania down towards the Jersey Shore, towards Delaware. You could see definitely 6 to 8 inches or even more according to the NAM. As we go on over to the GFS here, we're not getting as much precip. It's not putting as much rain down. I think this may be underdoing it. And then going on over to the European model, these reds are 5 inch. It maxes out at 5 inches. So there's going to be more rain that's going to fall in this area with this model. Going on over to the RPM model, this was pretty impressive. Look at the total accumulation here of rain. We're talking some places seeing 10 to 12 inches along the shorelines here, along the East Coast, where we get the heavier precip falling more consistently. Taking a look at the snow models here, you can see we're forecasting 15 to possibly 18 inches of snow down across some of the region here, across the Appalachians, probably more higher elevations. Again, there's another impressive swath of snow, now bringing some accumulating snow all the way up into Indiana and Ohio. Taking a look here at the European model, not bringing in as much snow as it was. We'll just have to wait and see, but it's not picking up on the cold air as much as some of the other models. Taking a look at the RPM, though, this was very impressive. In fact, if you look down here, look at the color scale here. 72 inches of snow is the darker area, so that would be several feet of snow down there. So very, very impressive snow potential down here where those higher markers are. So really that's all we have to talk about today. The East Coast, you're going to get a lot of winds. There are states of emergencies in several states, so check that out. Be ready. This is going to be a significant storm here. We're going to be talking about very heavy winds, or high winds, very heavy rain, and then storm surge is probably going to be a problem as well along the coast, especially where this makes landfall when you have that much energy. Even if the winds aren't significant, I mean, we'll be talking about winds in some places as much as 70 to 75 miles per hour, I believe. But, when you have so much energy mixing down to the surface from the storm, you're going to create some serious waves and storm surge with this storm. So anyways, we'll have more continuing throughout the day. You can watch this, you can follow me on Twitter at Swift Forecaster. I'll be posting throughout the day. Thanks for tuning in.